We are about to begin the service for Mr. Michael Larry Millman. I would ask any of you who have any type of noise-making device or your cellular phone to please turn it to the off position. Officiating our service today will be Rabbi Paul F. Cohen from Temple Jeremiah.
Before we continue with this tribute of love to Michael's life, we have a ritual that is performed, a ritual which is called Kriya, which literally means a tearing. It comes to us from our ancestors who, when they heard of the death of a loved one, they would tear the article of clothing they were wearing. It was a sign of grief and sadness, to be sure, but also a sign of the confusion and sometimes even the anger that we feel when someone that we love is taken from our midst. The Kriya ribbon, which we use today, also serves as an outward sign to those that will meet in the coming days that indeed there has been a tear in the fabric of our lives. So without having to say a word, people will see the ribbon and will know how to respond accordingly. And at a time when it is perhaps most difficult to utter words of blessing, our tradition gives us those words of blessing for this moment. Blessed are you, God, ruler of the universe, the judge of truth. When I received the call of Michael's passing, my reaction was the same as all of yours, the complete and utter shock, disbelief that this vibrant man had suddenly and tragically been taken from us. This shock and grief, though it continues to be very real, cannot blind us to the goodness of Michael's life, how he touched all of you, your hearts, your spirit, how he taught lessons of kindness, of generosity, of patience, of discipline, not with necessarily just the words that he spoke or even how amazing a listener he was, but in the way he carried himself, the example that he set for each and every one of us in every interaction. From the halls of Temple Jeremiah to the rooms in his home, to his workplace, to the places that he loved to go fishing. He was the same person in each and every setting. Michael didn't have, a work face or a family face or a friend face, or it was his face through and through in each and every encounter. He was all about caring and helping in whatever way that he could. And The words of the poet, Merit Malloy, bring to me a measure of comfort in this terrible moment of grief, because it speaks so much to who Michael was, what he was, how he was, and what he would want from each and every one of us. The poem is called Epitaph. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known and loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Death has taken our beloved Michael Millman. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Michael's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the divine, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. I'd like to invite forward Rabbi Nate Crane from the congregation Beth Hillel B'nai Emunah, Myrna's rabbi.
Adonai roi lo echsar, benot desha yarbitzeni, almei menuchod yin haleni, nafshi yishovev yanacheni v'magle tzedek leman shemo, gam ki elech begetz al mavet lo ira ra ki ata imadi, shiftecha mishanatecha hema yanachamuni, ta'aroch lefanai shulchan neged zorai, deshanta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya, ach tov v'chesed yerdefuni kol yemei chai, v'shavti b'veit Adonai lo orech yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Our tradition teaches us that birth is a beginning and death a destination. But life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage, from birth to death to life everlasting. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach, yehi shem Adonai mevorach. God has given and God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us, yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave and that there is strength in faith. With Job, we say, Adonai natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one, Michael Millman, who will not be forgotten. For all that was good and enduring in his life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love. As we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach, blessed be the name of God, now and forever. Amen. I invite each of you to take these next few moments to call forward the cherished memories that you have of Michael's life and how his love touched each of our hearts in this moment of silent reflection. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, be acceptable in your sight. God, our rock and our Redeemer, God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Words from the heart go directly to the heart. As we continue this tribute of love to Michael's life, his spirit, we continue with the words of his family. We'll first hear from his brother David, and then his sister Laura, and then his children Liz and Josh.
I guess first I want to say it's so wonderful to be surrounded with friends and family. It means the world to all of us, to me, and I'm sure to all of us. I love my brother. I always have. I always will. I'm going to speak of a few memories of us, and the first one is the three of us, Laura, Michael, and I, when we were very young, were a team. Our main goal was to have fun, nothing else. Our vacations were all wonderful. We went to a lot of different places in Illinois and Wisconsin. And on the way there, all we talked about was the swimming pool, how big it was, who's going to get in there first. I could only imagine my parents heard that over and over for a couple hours on the ride. Next was, I get to be the first one to talk about fishing. Probably every vacation we went on, fishing was involved. I was thinking, who would have thought 3 kids from Skokie would spend their life fishing? But we have. I won't talk about how many fish were caught. I will talk about the ones that got away later, anyone wants to hear. Even at a young age, I didn't realize, but so we're talking maybe Michael was 10 or so on vacations. Michael was always the responsible one. Age doesn't necessarily make someone responsible, and again, I only thought of this recently. At the time, we had no idea, but my parents did. And that day, you would tell the kids to go out and play, and we did. And we had Michael played just like we were. We were literally an even team. No one was a superstar. No one was a rookie. It wasn't male or female. The goal was to have fun. And we always did. Playing outside in our neighborhood, there were a lot of kids. We mostly played wiffle ball and football. But there was always, if 2 people went outside, another 10 kids would show up. And as young kids, we all played together. That changed a little as we got older, but we all divided up in teams, and I don't know that anyone really cared who won or lost at that age. When we moved on to high school and college, we kind of drifted apart. We had our own friends. Obviously, with college, we went to 3 different colleges. We kept in touch, but the usual drifting apart. Then Mike married Deb, and next was Josh and Liz. And I know when Matt joined my family, I'm sure Liz and Josh were happy that they weren't the only 2 at the kids' table anymore. We all had great times. Michael organized barbecues. We were all, of course, together for the Jewish holidays. And let's see. And then I guess maybe about 10 years ago, the first fishing story. I almost forgot it. I had to put it on a separate page. Mike organized for my dad and I, the 3 of us, to go fishing on Lake Michigan. As I was writing this last night, what popped into my head, or bobbed into my head, something I wrote a little message that I will leave with Michael. I don't know, some of you might know what a bobber is, some of you might not, but I wrote a little message there for Mike to keep with himself. Let's see. So as we aged, we got closer together again. Especially as Mom and Dad aged, we started having at least weekly conversations, if not more. We might have disagreed in different ways, but our goal was to take care of Dad and Mom, and now Mom. That was the goal, and that's what we accomplished. Keeping Mom healthy now, happy in her home. And we all did the best we could. And I think up till this point, we've done a wonderful job with Michael in the lead. And knock on wood, from here forward, Laura and I will hopefully live up to the wonderful job that the 3 of us did. So I guess to finish where I started, I love my brother very much. I always have and always will.
My name is Laura, and I'm Michael's sister. My brother David has succeeded in establishing a couple of themes without talking to one another, so they must be real. How many times I've heard our mother say, parents should not bury their children. And Michael, of all people, this is so wrong. Deb, Josh, Megan, Hunter, Sam, Caroline, Mom, David. A long silence followed, tapping your names on my keyboard because I shouldn't be writing this. This is the very definition of something I often heard our dad say. Life isn't fair. And yet here we are. And what are we supposed to do? How to accept the unacceptable, the unspeakable loss. Michael. This is the moment we're challenged to apply words so much easier said than done. Death is a part of life. I have faith in life. About death, I tell people that I believe something it turns out Sam also believes. We are reunited in death with those loved ones who have passed before us. Sam said Michael is with his Papa Morrie now. When Debbie and Liz gave me the opportunity to say goodbye to Michael over the phone, I told him I loved him and I believed he'd be with our dad again. And Liz agreed, telling him they'd go fishing together again. And I love that image. Michael was the Millman family Kaddish. In a Jewish family, the firstborn male child. I think I was jealous of that inherently untouchable, superpowered royal title. But titles carry responsibility. Michael was the very model of responsibility. He was born to be. Babysitting his two younger siblings was his first training ground. He took that role so seriously. I felt like he disappeared and replaced himself with a doppelganger. The older brother who was around when our parents were there was gone. And I kind of hated that he was in charge. So serious and disciplined. In fact, serious and disciplined was the way he ate Hostess cupcakes. He wasn't about the easy accessed creamy white center. No. The young child Michael slowly, gently pulled the chocolate topping with the white squiggle off the cupcake in one piece, set it aside, ate the cake part, and had the further discipline to wait before savoring the best for last. I wonder if his responsible and loving role of babysitter was where the seed got planted for the grandpa he became. Sam, Caroline, Alice, you are magic. You are his heart forever. I knew him my whole life, and I never saw him so openly, expressively in love with anything or anyone as he so unabashedly showed himself to be with you. Magic. And Deb, when I read the obit, the love of his life, so purely true. Just as with the kids, but long before, I'd never seen him so in love. Not even close. Sometimes we're lucky enough to be around couples who so clearly make a couple. With all due respect, and because I didn't know Sid, I think of Vicky and Victor, Myrna and Morrie, Michael and Debbie. Two individuals who found each other and made one. A miracle. a love miracle. It's like one name when you say they're two names, Michael and Debbie, Debbie and Michael. Love never dies. In the words of Khalil Gibran, love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. Michael and I could hardly be more different, and yet, when I was lost and needed my older brother to take me in, he did, without question. He even agreed to keep the secret that I was there. How far out of his comfort zone Michael went for me. I knew his love. I stayed with him in his apartment on West Arthur Avenue in Chicago until the questions started coming. Annoying questions, but so what's your plan? I never planned anything, but Michael did. And in so doing, created this most beautiful family with Deb. But no one planned this, least of all Michael. Years so filled with love and joy, with firmly planted roots for exponential growth, a term I may well have first learned from Michael. Nurturing, growing love and joy was the plan, and so it shall continue to be. Gibran said, "All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart." Like Debbie and Michael, joy and sorrow are coupled too. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. A delight named Michael.
What do you think? Can you get this out?
We're gonna try. I'd also like to thank everyone for being here. We feel surrounded by love. I'm Liz and this is Josh. We are Michael's two children. We'd like to begin with a moment of gratitude for everything Dad brought into the world and shared with all of us during his 69 beautiful years. Thank you. We know that we learned a tremendous amount from Dad as he walked even-keeled through life's ups and downs. And we believe he set an example we can all aspire to live up to, even if we may not always pull it off with his ease and graciousness. Although his time with us was tragically cut short, each of us who had the privilege of knowing Dad can attest to the strength of his character and the warmth of his heart. Here are some ways in which we have taken inspiration from Dad, which we hope can spark inspiration for each of us when we need it most over the years to come. When we were kids, Dad would carve out dedicated time to spend with us so we would have his undivided attention, whether through Cub Scouts, where he and Josh would build Pinewood Derby cars, by taking us fishing with Captain Ernie, or getting dressed up for the daddy-daughter dance. Dad had a way of making us feel as if we were the center of the universe. He showed us how to live in and enjoy the present moment to the fullest. He also instilled in Josh and me the value of hard work and persistence. He encouraged us to excel in school and in our careers, in our extracurricular pursuits of wrestling or dance, and as new parents of children or of puppies. But he also led by example through his own career and everything else he set out to do. He showed us that with that determination paired with a meticulous, well-researched plan, will help you achieve whatever you set your mind to doing. Beyond work, Dad also knew how to fully embrace the joy of play in his free time. He took particular delight in playing with his grandchildren, but also with many nephews and cousins, plus his grand puppies, all of whom flocked to him for endless hours of fun. Whether jumping on the trampoline, playing hide and seek or freeze tag, indulging in a world of make-believe, or playing hours of fetch with the pups, Dad was up for almost anything their imaginations could dream up. He showed us that patience and playfulness work wonders when paired together. Dad also relished being healthy and active, especially when it entailed soaking in the beauty of nature and spending time outdoors. He enjoyed biking, snowmobiling, and hiking the trails throughout the island up north. But he was at his peak happiness on or near the water, where he loved fishing, boating, water skiing, swimming, and more. This includes an impressive water ski run Dad took during our 4th of July visit up north this year, and a glorious swim this past Friday in Gloucester when he and I dove into the waves together on a picture-perfect day. He showed us how to soak up every drop of sunshine and find peace in knowing that life's simple pleasures are enough. Finally, Dad taught us how to lead with kindness regardless of the circumstances and put others before ourselves. Dad would go out of his way to help his family and friends, going beyond just doing the favor asked, to anticipate the extra support that would mean the most to those he was helping. He wanted those around him to be happy and would consistently flex his own needs to ensure the needs of his loved ones were fulfilled. Even in difficult situations, he showed us that a few words of kindness could help to diffuse any hard feelings and transcend all else. Dad had an incredible amount to be proud of in his life. He told us how often we made him proud, and although we didn't tell him often enough, he also gave us a lot to be proud of. In his unassuming, understated way, Dad led by example, by living a life we can all aspire to emulate. All we have to do is follow these simple principles. Enjoy the present moment to the fullest. Believe anything is possible with determination and a plan. Pair patience with playfulness. Find peace in life's simple outdoor pleasures. Remember that kindness transcends all else.
The Torah portion this week is from the book of Deuteronomy, and it begins and is named with the word re'eh, which is the command to see, to open up your eyes, to pay attention, and specifically to see that life is a choice. We have the choice to choose a life of meaning, a life of blessing, and we have the other choices that we can make. And the command that comes paired with opening our eyes and seeing the possibilities for blessing in each and every moment, so that we might live, truly live, a life of meaning. The command is, therefore, choose life. And that's what Michael did. In each and every moment, he chose to see the good, right? Patience doesn't come out of thin air, right? Patience is a choice. Patience is a choice to see what is good, not to ignore the bad, but choose to lift up the good. It's a choice that Michael made to be kind, to be present in the moment, to understand the importance of family, to see the blessings that were so abundant in his life, and truthfully in each and every life. Re'eh. See, I have set before you blessing and curse, says God. Blessing if you follow my commandments, and curse if you do not. Choose life. Choose blessing. Born in Chicago, he was the first son of Myrna and Morrie of blessed memory. He had lots of odd jobs, I hear, growing up. He worked at Burger King, and as every young Jewish boy of a certain generation, he, of course, worked at a shoe store as well. Other things as well, but I'm sure as I heard this, it was to help out, to bring a little extra into the family, have a little pocket money for himself, not to buy things for himself, but to share with others. There are fond memories that David brought forward of playing in the neighborhood and growing up in Skokie. I'm told that he loved bowling, something I didn't know about him, and that he was in teams throughout his life. Re'eh. See. Pay attention to blessing. Choose life. Michael attended Niles North High School and then went on to the University of Illinois. One summer began working at Fel-Pro and decided that he really enjoyed it and wanted to stay on, and was able to, with Fel-Pro, to complete his bachelor's studies and then to go on for a master's degree at Loyola in industrial relations with the full support of his company. And not surprising, he was and continued to be a very valued employee. People saw the goodness, saw the blessing in Michael as well. He had this strong work ethic that was just shared with you, always strove not just to do the job, but to go above and beyond whenever possible. This was a hallmark in Michael's life. Re'eh. See. Pay attention to the blessing in life. Choose life. Now, he saw in Debbie a life partner for 44 years, meeting wonderfully appropriately at a wedding of a dear friend, and making that connection, and just a couple of years later marrying and spending 44 years of life and love together. He was, in Debbie's words, such a wonderful husband, loving and caring, detail-oriented, and I hear that there was a little bit of thank goodness under there as well in that relationship, and a planner. He never really sat still. He was always going and doing around the house, in the yard, roses, flowers, balloons to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, that he never missed a one. Traveled the world together, walks, biking, loved to entertain and to plan and to bring people into the home, enjoyed art fairs together, the theater, and going out to eat. And especially when there was a coupon from the entertainment book for those meals. And oh my gosh, when he discovered all-you-can-eat sushi, Re'eh. See. Pay attention. Choose life. He was a kind, loving, supportive father to the children that Debbie and Michael's love brought into this world. Josh and Liz, And extending that love, of course, to Megan and to Hunter as well. You heard about the connections that he made individually with his two children and getting engaged in their activities wholeheartedly with fullness of spirit. Michael was all in as a dad, as he was as a papi. He was so joyful as his family grew. He was the best papi to Sam and Caroline and Alice. You heard something about the hide and seek and playing monsters and the fishing and riding bikes and pogo sticks and Barbies. And the list goes on and on. He was so engaged as a father and as a grandfather, as papi. He was, and when, I forget who said this, he was a kid whisperer, right? I mean, he got kids and kids got him, and that patience and that playfulness, right, paired together, well, that was apparent to everyone. There were, and Megan thought sometimes that the bedtime ritual would never end with the stories that he would tell and the imagination that he would employ in helping his grandchildren go to sleep. Re'eh, see, pay attention. Choose life, choose blessing. He was, as you've heard, an avid fisherman, a cyclist. He loved the water. What he loved most was sharing these activities, right? It wasn't just about the activity. It was about the people that he was with, family, friends, being engaged with other people. Michael was, and I haven't heard the phrase used in this way before, and I love it. He was a yes and person, right? So that if you asked him for something, you needed a little help, he would say, yes. And what else can I do? Right? That was his personality, right? This yes and. Re'eh, see, pay attention. You were always the most important person in the moment. You felt that. Michael made you feel that. He would ask questions and truly listen. Every time I saw him at Temple Jeremiah, I would, of course, ask Michael, how are you doing? And he would give me a rather quick answer, and then he would turn to me, how are you doing? And he would wait for me to go beyond the, I'm doing okay, I'm doing well, I'm doing fine, everything's good, and to really continue to ask those questions, as he did with everyone, He learned so much with the questions that he asked and what he was able to take in. Everyone comments on the depth and breadth of his knowledge for everything from sports, which was a later pursuit, Cubs statistics and socks, to understanding how a carburetor works, right? And just amazing. His infinite patience always came through. He really loved people. He did things intended, as you heard, to make you feel comfortable. And it could be as simple as having coffee because you were coffee, even though he didn't really like coffee. Or if you were drinking a beer, he would drink a beer, but he would never finish it, right? I mean, just to put everyone at ease, that was his thing. Re'eh, see, pay attention. Michael was such a kind and gentle spirit. He never said a bad word about anyone, and it took a tremendous effort to provoke anything close to anger. Such was his patience and gentle nature. Re'eh, see, I have set before you blessing and curse. Choose life. Choose to see the blessings. Michael knew the value of $1. As I said, eating out, so much better with a coupon. Getting a deal, oh, he loved to get a deal. That was his thing. And you don't buy soda in the cans or pop in the cans. You buy it in the liter, right? You save a couple of pennies. It's a good thing to do, right? Re'eh, see, pay attention. Michael was so devoted to his and Debbie's parents, to caring for his mom and Debbie's mom, and he loved to be of service, to help others, putting their own needs ahead of his own, and he really didn't need much. Catch a fish on outings with Captain Jack, with friends and family, fishing on the Sound out east, down in Florida, with his grandchildren, showing them, or trying to show them, I don't know if he was successful in, how to put a worm on a hook. Right? Re'eh, see. When he got tickets from work for, the joy was to share them with others, games to the Cubs or even the Sox. He was happiest when those around him were happy. It could be riding the lawnmower out at the Grange or out east, visiting Liz and Hunter, and just the joy that he got from riding a riding mower is just wonderful, and so him. Re'eh. Choose life. See the blessing. See it in the simple. See it in the everyday and what might be called ordinary. Re'eh. Michael saw the value in Judaism of living an ethical life, not just speaking the words, but performing the actions. He was a committed Jew. He was a devoted member of Temple Jeremiah. I've known him as long as I've been there, 21 years. He was committed to the ethical tradition that Reform Judaism emphasizes, and would go out of his way always to help someone in need. Re'eh, see, pay attention. In this terrible moment of grief, mourning the loss of Michael, let us see the blessing of his life and how he chose life each and every day. Let us choose life and continue to honor Michael's memory by living a life of meaning, a life of service, a life that is indeed a blessing. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous is always for a blessing. May the memory of Michael Millman, a devoted son, a brother, husband, father, grandfather, uncle, and friend, always be for a blessing. And to this let us say, Amen. We continue with the memorial prayer, El Malei Rachamim. I invite those who are able to please rise. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamitzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, Im Kiroshim Utehorim, Kezohar Ki Masirim, Et Nishmat Michael Eresh, Ben Moshe V'Malka, Shehalach Leolamo, Bal HaRachamim, Yastirehu B'Seter Kenafav Leolamim, Vayitzror B'Tzor HaChaim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachalato, V'yanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkavo, V'nomar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Michael Yeresh, Ben Moshe V'Malka, Michael Larry Millman, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. It is only the house of the Spirit which we now lay within the earth, for the Spirit itself cannot die. Receive in mercy, O God, the soul of our departed Michael Larry Millman. Grant him that everlasting peace which you have prepared for us in the world to come. Though no human eye has seen, nor ear has heard, nor mind has grasped it, still is our sure inheritance and our everlasting portion. O God, help us to understand that grief and love go hand in hand, that the pain which loss inflicts is the measure of a love that is stronger than death. Though we cry in the anguish of our hearts, may we be like children who know that their parent is near and who cling unafraid to the trusted hand. In this spirit, O God, do we commit all that is precious to us to your keeping, as we repeat words hallowed by the generations, the words of the Kaddish Prayer, which you may find on the back pamphlet that you received here at the cemetery. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, bi'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, la'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba v'varach leolam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shamaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God grant peace to all who mourn the passing of Michael Millman, and bring comfort to all the bereaved who are among us. And together let us say, Amen. At the end of the day, we gently tuck our children in for the night. At the end of a person's life, the last act of Gemilut Chasadim, the last act of loving kindness that we can do for him, is to cover his grave. Our tradition teaches us that there is a custom of placing 3 shovelfuls of earth within the grave and then returning the shovel to the mound of earth so that each person can fulfill the mitzvah with fullness of intention. I invite those who wish to be seated. Once the vault has been covered, we'll invite the family to come forward as we continue this tribute of love. Friends, I'm going to invite the immediate family to come forward, those who wish to place earth within the grave. Again, the custom is 3 shovelfuls, and to place then the shovel within the mound of earth. There are 2 pails that can be used, and also the mound of earth that has been placed on the board behind us.
Disrespect using multiple locations at the same time.
Friends, for those who would like to, you're invited to come forward and participate.
Well, we could either go on Monday or
Liz, I'm just going to make announcements. Just the educated ones that are over, just so that the people watching. Thank you. Condolences. Friends, I'm going to let everyone know why we are doing the final covering. Shiva will take place at the Millman residence, 3257 Echo Lane in Northbrook, Wednesday today, following the service here until 8 p.m., and Thursday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Memorial contributions are invited to be made to Temple Jeremiah, 937 Hap Road. That information is both on the service folder, but it's also on the website if you are watching by live stream. In just a few minutes, the 70-plus people who are watching on the live stream, we will be concluding our video. Thank you very, very much.
Get used to it. Never start going. Yeah, it's very good. I know, absolutely. I know, exactly. And by the way, the tradition continues. Well, I have been to the kids' program. Brian loves it. Yeah, we've been up there a few times too. Yeah, we love it up there. So we used to go a lot. That's great. What happened? Yeah, we did. All right, I will send my love to Susie. I hope all of her health needs to come down. Yeah, keep me posted. Careful behind this cameras. Okay, take care. He finished 2 years at it's crazy how glad your folks stayed. Michael really would have wanted him to be here. I'm glad he was in town. I know having to come into town would have been that much more difficult, but this way that he was here, I'm so glad of that. Yeah. He loved you. So when are you going on the road? Getting on the road right now. Drive carefully, please drive carefully. And you know you get home safely. Love you guys. Love you guys. Oh, all right, well, drive safely. Let me know you get home okay. We'll keep in touch. Got a lot of support. Yeah, a lot of
Never seen so many people.
I know. So, crazy. All right, guys, take care.
Gentlemen, you can proceed.
All right.
I want to thank those of you who are on the live stream. We are going to conclude the broadcast at this time.